How you doing, guys? Just to let you know, this video is going to be a little sporadic because normally I write everything down, my video show notes, I guess you could say, for the channel. Unfortunately, I cut my hand on some glass. My writing hand is not working, so I'll do my best to try to make everything sound coherent. See, I can't even see coherent there. I'm going to drink my coffee as well, so excuse me, it's been a rough morning. Now I'm going to talk about some of my problems with cell phones. In this case, it's an unlocked phone, by the way. And normally for a while, this is probably my third or fourth iPhone. This is the iPhone 5S, by the way. I had it for many years. I usually keep things as long as I can until they don't work. I mean, it still works fine. I decided to get an updated phone, and so, I almost dropped my other phone. So I decided to get, based on research, LG V30 Plus. The Plus, of course, gives you 128 gigabytes of storage. Great phone. Even, this is what, 2 generations behind, I think, in LG phone technology. Still a great phone. The reason I went unlocked is because I could get it for half price. I think I paid $400 for it at the time. You might be able to get it cheaper now. And so I put Cricket on it, and it worked fine for about a year-ish. Well, actually less than a year. Then I've been having problems with it. I could rarely make phone calls out. And then pretty soon I couldn't even receive calls. So that was a big issue. And I assumed it was just because we're the cell tower coverage. And it's funny because I think we have a cell phone tower within visual sight of my house. But I had problems with iPhones before with reception, so I assumed it was a cell phone tower. I don't think it is. That was really what the problem was. So I decided, after I found out, I'm like, let me just stick with a Cricket branded phone, so I know that it's pretty much covered. And in fact, I decided to get a Nokia 3.1C, which is not a bad phone. I mean, for the price. Just to show you, Cricket. So it is branded. I figured that'd be the safest way because I definitely had to have a cell phone working to send out and receive calls. So it kind of sucks with the LG phone. I can still use it. That's fine. Now I'm kind of getting into it where I'm carrying 2 phones around, which is a really big pain. I mean, everything functions. And this one I have Freedom Pop, which is I just have the free account for an emergency backup phone. And I'm not saying I may end up having problems with Freedom Pop even. I don't think there's anything wrong with this phone. It works. I think it works fine. It's just for whatever reason, maybe it's just getting too old with the updates and all that. So the problem with LG phones, and they're very notorious on this, is updates. It still has Android 7 on it. And we're already, 2 or 3 years in, and no updates have went to this phone. Now, they are releasing for the LG V30. They have been releasing updates, finally, and some for a year. But unfortunately, Android updates seem to be tied to the cellular provider. It seems to have to be done through them. I think Google is having a way where they're going to push Android updates themselves, rather than, which I hope, because I think with unlocked phones, maybe there's more problems since it's not locked to a certain provider that updates is going to be now. Somebody chime in on this for me if you do know. I'm not saying I am a super expert on how cellular networks and phones work. I do know enough to be dangerous, I guess you could say. So, and for instance, this Nokia phone, which has Android 9 on it, Nokia, based on my research, is one of the best phones for receiving Android updates. In fact, I've gotten two Android updates through Nokia. Now, these were minor updates, I think security updates, which I haven't seen with, obviously, my LG. And so, which is great. I think that's great. Fortunately, the hardware and the things I want to do with this is not supported. For instance, pairing Filmic Pro and Filmic First Light, a new app for Android, won't run on this phone because the Android is too old. It will. It's funny. The First Light, Filmic First Light, will work fine on the Nokia because it has Android 9 on it, which is really aggravating. And just to give you an idea, now, of course, with Apple iPhones, after usually with their phones, cellular phones, they're probably one of the few phones out there that receive updates the longest of any manufacturer, and they tend to push it through Apple instead of through the cellular provider, by the way. Android seems to be more cellular locked to that particular thing for updates. But iPhones and iPads and whatever, iOS has the updates for the longest phone. And of course, in the past, they have been doing some notoriously, Apple's been doing some bad things where they've been slowing the performance of older phones down to increase battery life. Now, once they've been caught, though, now they're pushing out updates to work on really old phones. And then, believe it or not, I'm still getting updates on this. I think it's a 7-year-old phone, iPhone. I'm still getting updates, new iOS versions. So technically, I could use this phone and still be updated, which is really incredible. Now, the technology and some other things it can do, you can't, obviously. So that's kind of the conundrum, I guess. For the time being, I'm just going to stick with the cell phone provider phones that are, branded. So just to keep up, because I definitely need reliability, stability on the phone platform to send and receive calls. I don't know if you guys have any thoughts on using unlocked phones, maybe getting system updates and all that. I'm hoping somehow I'm going to get updates for my LG V30. We'll see. Like I said, I think it's locked to a cellular service, kind of, rather than through Google. Maybe they'll change that in the future. And because the hardware on that phone is still great, if I can update it to at least Android 9 somehow, or even hack into it or whatever, we'll see. So those are my thoughts and some of the problems I've had with, this phone. And I'm not saying it's Cricket's fault. I'm not saying it's LG. Well, in some ways, it is LG's fault as far as software updates, as far as the Android goes. But I don't think it's the phone is broken or anything. It's just for whatever reason it doesn't work with Cricket anymore, and I'm afraid to put another cellular provider. Like I said, I do have Freedom Pop on it, free service, just for a backup for emergencies. And I'm not. You can get a free account, and they don't charge you anything. You get like 200 minutes per month and a little bit of cellular data. Of course, with all cell phones, you get, 911 service. You have to have that by law. So those are my thoughts and problems, and I figure it'd be an interesting topic. So thanks for watching, and see you guys later.